Hey guys, congratulations for clicking on this video. It's Jason here from the Omni Sales team, and in today I've got an incredible video for you where we go over the 7 steps of selling. This is how to sell anything to anyone at any time for any price anywhere in the world. If you follow these 7 steps, you'll be able to sell anything to anyone. Now I know it seems maybe a little bit too good to be true, but guys, trust me, these 7 steps, if you follow them, if you act on them, if you practice them, if you really understand them, this is how a sale moves forward. This is how a sale progresses forward. So there's 7 steps, guys. Get a pen and paper because you don't want to miss anything in this video. So grab a pen and paper and we'll get straight into it. So normally I have a whiteboard behind me where you guys can take notes. Obviously, it'll be down in the descriptions down below. But specifically, I want you to write these down so they are imprinted into your mind. Remember, what is written is retained. So the more information we can write down, the more information we can go through, the more that we can understand, any way we can do to get to understand what we're going through, the more likely it's going to be able to transcend into your sales. So the 7 steps of selling is born upon the fact that all sales have got to transact, or all sales have got to progress in a certain way. There's no point pulling out a price guide or pulling out an inclusion booklet or anything like that before we actually know what the client is looking for and who the client is. So when we're looking at the 7 steps of selling, it's a stage-by-stage selling structure. If you follow the structure to a T, by the time you get to asking for the money and asking for the close, the client can't say no. Why? Because they've already gone through and they've confirmed with you all the way along through the process. So the first thing I want you to write down is step 1, rapport building. Before we start doing any selling to anyone, we just need to understand who this person is. So what we do to understand who a person is we start to build rapport with this person. Now, the crazy thing is when I talk about rapport building, I could ask 10 salespeople in the room right now to put their hand up, or 10 of you guys right now watching on this video, and get you guys to answer what rapport building is. And every single one of you will answer something different. Because a lot of people say, rapport building is just getting to know someone. Okay, well, how long do you do that for? Or when do you stop? When do you move on to the next stage? We never answer these questions. Why? Because we don't understand what rapport building is. So rapport building is simply the genuine curiosity in another individual. You need to make that person that you're speaking to, or that client you're speaking to, feel like they're the most important person in the world. That's what rapport building is based upon. It's genuine customer service and wanting to get to know somebody. So you're polite, you're respectful, you make sure the jokes are tame, make sure you're not offending them. You show them anything they need to go through. You're having a chat with them. You're getting to know them. You're finding out if you have similarities. That's all rapport building. Now, why do we rapport build? And why does all salespeople always get taught you must rapport build? Because rapport building is when we find out if we're like a customer. One of the key rules in sales is that people will only buy from people they know, like, and trust. And you'll notice that first one was know. Now, who do you know in this world more than anyone else? You know yourself. So obviously, if you're chatting to someone and they're like you and you're like them, that person's instantly going to start to trust you because they trust themselves or they know themselves. And that's going to lead to a sale quicker. So rapport building in its infancy, when it was getting popularized in sales and when salespeople were using it, it was just trying to find out if you have things in common. Rapport building is so much more than that, though. It's a genuine curiosity in someone else. Now, what I mean by genuine curiosity is you don't have to have something in common with that person for you guys to develop a relationship. So, for an example, I'm an avid paraglider. I love paragliding. And you might say, Jason, that's all well and good. I don't paraglide. How can we rapport build, or how can we get an understanding together? Well, if you are trying to sell to me and I love paragliding, you might go, dude, what's it like being up in the clouds? What's it like flying or going around with your glider? Like, have a chat like that. That's what rapport building is. It's a genuine curiosity in another individual. So you don't necessarily have to have things that you have in common. You don't have to have things you like. It's just finding out who this person is so you can best serve them. That's all rapport building is. Now, a lot of people ask me, Jason, when does rapport building stop? Well, rapport building stops the moment that you see that facade drop. The moment that the customer goes, you'll notice their shoulders will pull forward, their face will drop a little bit, and they'll just feel relaxed. Once you've got them to there, then you move into the second step of the 7 steps of selling. You can't progress forward from there because if you do, what happens, which I'm sure you guys have all felt at one point, is if you ask a client too many questions straight away, they're just going to feel like they're being interviewed or interrogated and they won't want to do business because they're like, mate, just leave me alone. Like, I've just come in to have a look. I don't want to answer all these questions. So rapport building is that genuine breakdown of the customer. You're breaking down who they are. You're finding out who they are. You're getting to understand what they want, and then you move forward to step 2. Step 2 is the exploration phase. The exploration phase is once you've developed that relationship, once that facade is dropped, so write that down, guys, step 2, exploration. Once that facade is dropped, that's when we can start digging deeper and asking more targeted questions. So these targeted questions could be things like, awesome guys, like when we're looking at homes, what kind of home are we looking for? We're looking for single, double, are we looking for acreage? When we're using the home, what's important? It's important to have studies, it's important to have media rooms, kids' activity. We're getting an understanding of what they want. Now, when does the exploration stage finish? So once you've gone through and you found out all this information, when does the exploration stage finish? It finishes once you find out the answer to one question. And it is, what's the client's main buying goal? Guys, write that down. Client's main buying goal. And I want you to underline that, circle that. This is the single most important thing you can learn in sales. You must find out what the client's main buying goal is before you go anywhere near pricing, before you go through inclusions, before you go through house designs. You need to find out why they're building. Because if you can't find out why they're doing that, you're just going to give them a bunch of information and they're going to go, cool, bro, that's not what I want. And they're just going to walk out. So it's so important that you get an understanding of what they want, an understanding of why they're here. So the main buying goal, circle that, write it down. Once you discover what the client's main buying goal is, then we move on to step 3. And step 3 is what we call alignment. So once we've got the client's main buying goal, we understand that we have products, or we go through our product catalog to find out if we have a product. We need to find a solution to the problem, which is the client's main buying goal. So if you can write there, problem equals client's main buying goal. Write that down. Solution equals my product. Now, this is the most important thing. If you do not have a product to suit the client's main buying goal, that is not a client for you. That's a referral. You give that to someone else. You send them to a builder that specializes in that. You send that client away. Why? Because if you sell something to someone that's not for them or for their main buying goal, that's when you get negative reviews, and that's when you feel like they've been used or they've just been sold to. Clients hate that. That's what's going to destroy your name quicker than anything else. So once you find out what the client's main buying goal is and you have a product, we call this opening the sale. The alignment stage finishes once you've found a solution to their problem. Now, key points to remember in the alignment stage is that you must always provide 3 options. Never just give one. Why? Because clients want to feel like they're making the buying decision. If you pick the home for them, they won't feel like they're making the buying decision, and they'll just feel like they're being told what to do. And then what happens the first sign that the client gets uncomfortable? They're like, nah, man, that wasn't our design. We never wanted that. We wanted this other design, but you pushed us into it. So once you've found the client's main buying goal, you've found products, give them 3. You already know which one's the best. Obviously, you do this all day, but give them 2 others that are very good, that'll also support their main buying goal, and then let them pick. And let's say they don't pick the one that you thought was going to be the best. Maybe recommend it, just go, hey, had you considered these options? And if you go, yeah, but we really like this plan, boom, you've got the alignment. You've got the product. The client has made the decision. They've mentally ticked into their brain that they want that home. So now we progress through and we start selling. This is when the selling stage starts. Before that, this was all information. This is what we call order taking. This is just basic selling. It's basic information you're giving them. Now we move into traditional sales. So once you've got the client's main buying goal, you've got the product, they've selected it, they've got the solution to their problem, we move into stage 4. And step 4 is what we call the desired state stage. Step 4, write it down, desired state. What is a desired state? A desired state is where the client wants to be. It's the most, it's the pinnacle of what the client's looking for. It's why they're spending money with you. They're spending $500,000. Their entire life savings is to get them to a point where we want this. This is why we're here. So it's so important to build this up. So step 4, once you've got the client's alignment, once it makes sense to the client and they've picked it, now we need to build that story. We need to build that psychological and an emotional connection to your product. And how do we do that? This is key, guys. Step 4 is key. I want you to write down this question. This question is key. Guys, thank you so much. I love that house obviously suits what you're looking for. I just wanted to ask you this question. What would the perfect weekend look like in your new home? What would the perfect weekend look like in your new home? What would the perfect weekend look like, and how would you use the home? What would you be doing? You want to ask those 3 questions. Write them down, study them, take that word track. Why? Because the answer they give you in that is going to be what you build your entire case on. This is like, this is the holy grail of what the client's looking for. They've given you the client's main buying goal, so you know the product suits their reason for actually wanting to buy. Now that they've built that up in their head, the next step we're doing is we're building that desired state. We ask them these questions so we can build the story. So once we've built that story up and we've got them to the peak value, then we move on to step 5. And step 5 is one of the most destructive stages of all, or it is the most destructive stage at all. We call it the reality check stage. Once the client's got this beautiful home, this beautiful like picture, this story in their head, you've built it up, you've asked them these questions, they're sold on it, then we want to take that away. It's called the reality check. So you start asking questions. Hey guys, I love everything about this. I wanted to ask you a couple questions. How long are you willing to wait for this home? How long are you willing to wait to step into that dream? Like right now, we're on one side of a portal, there's the other side. On this side of the portal, we're living the current life we want. On the other side of the portal, we move forward and we move forward with our dreams. When do we want to make that step? When do you want to be in your new home buy? What we're doing is we're building up in this client's head, like, if I don't take action now, then I'm not going to get my home. So you ask them the concept, you take it away. Guys, if you don't act now, you're not going to get to your dream. If we don't deposit now, if we don't get your soils done, it's just your soil test and your contour surveys. If we don't get that process started, it's just going to take you longer to get in your home. If you're paying rent and repayments, you're just going to have to keep paying that for longer. You want to build up as much negativity here as possible so you pull away the client's perceived vision of this. So what we've done is we've built up this beautiful home. Now we're taking everything away. And the bigger that we can stretch this gap, the easier the close becomes in the middle. Genuinely, the easier it is to close in the middle. So we've built up the desired state, we've ripped it away with the reality check, and then at this point here, I call it like a phoenix out of the ashes. What happens is when a client is all depressed, they've got stuck into this lifestyle of like, this isn't what we want. Like you've built up in their head that this is terrible if they don't act on it now. That's when we present the price, when we present the house, that's when we do our presentation. That's when we do the walkthrough. So once we've built up the desired state, we've ripped it away with the reality check, we then do our presentation in the middle. And I call this a phoenix out of the ashes. So like you've destroyed their dreams, they're feeling horrible, they hate everything because you've ripped away their dreams. Then like a phoenix coming out, being reborn, your product is the solution. It's the answer. It's what they want. So this is step 6 is the presentation. Write that down. Step 6, presentation. Remember this, in sales, you should always present the price when the perceived value is at its highest. You should always present the price when the perceived value is at its highest. So if you've built up this beautiful home in their head, you've ripped it away, the perceived value of your product is genuinely what the client needs to fix that pain and to get back to that pleasure. We must present the price now. Now, the other thing to remember is the moment you give your price away, the moment that you give your price away is the moment that you stop selling and now you move on to closing. Because now the client has a realistic, or they have a monetary, or they have a value assigned to you. They have a cost assigned to you now. Before this was all selling, building up, taking away, presenting. Now the client has a perceived value and now they start thinking, is this worth that? So if you did a good enough job and you built up their client's main buying goal, you did the alignment properly, you built up the desired state, you got everything perfect for the client would obviously say, yes, this is perfect, I'm moving forward. But if there was any shadow of a doubt, if there was any hesitation, if there's any nerves, that's when the objections are going to come out. So presentation includes handling objections, overcoming objections, and then reselling to the clients. And then once you've finished all of that, step 7, guys, I want you to write this one down, baby. This is the best. Commitment, ask for the close. So if you've done everything properly, you've presented, ask for the close, ask for the business. The craziest thing with sales in all industries in the world, particularly with new salespeople, is you would sell 30 to 40% more if you just ask for the money more. The amount of people that don't ask for the close, they don't ask for the money, they don't ask for the commitment because they're scared or they feel like something's missing is incredible, guys. They're coming to you and they're sitting in front of you because they want your product. So ask for the close. So guys, as always, my name is Jason from the Omni Sales team. I hope those 7 steps really sort of solidified a path to take so you understand the progression of a sale. Because a lot of salespeople, when I see them and when we chat and we're training together, I see them just jumping all over the place. They don't know what they're doing. That client walks in, they're instantly giving them products. Then they're like trying to show them a price list and they're running the client through inclusions without actually getting to know the client or getting to understand the client. So again, guys, you should have written them down, but step 1, rapport building. Step 2 is exploration. Step 3, alignment. Step 4, desired state. Step 5, reality check. Step 6, presentation. Step 7, close and ask for the business. As always, guys, it's Jason here. If you could drop a like on this video, if there's any other salespeople you know and you want to share this to, please share it. If you have an objection or if you have a problem, drop a comment down below and I'll do another video on that. As always, guys, I'll see you on the next video.